Hello, it's Willie from the Ozarks, and we are ready for our August 3rd lesson in A Course in Miracles workbook for students. We're reading out of the original edition, and our lesson for today, 2:15, I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. That was lesson 195. So we're reviewing 195. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. The Holy Spirit is my only guide. He walks with me in love, and I give thanks to Him for showing me the way I go. The Holy Spirit is my only guide. He walks with me in love, and I give thanks for Him for showing me the way to go. So we want to give gratitude to God. Love is the way I walk in gratitude, and we give gratitude to God by giving gratitude to everyone. We're all part of the same source. I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. I've been going back and reviewing just by reading the lesson, and I think it'd be worthwhile to do that today. I sometimes just hit some high points of it, but we've got the time, and we're going to take a little bit of time and look at our lesson, our text reading. But let's take a look at love is the way I walk in gratitude. And by the way, I'm sitting here under a black locust tree, and I'll show you a little bit. There's some black locust leaves. They don't have as big of thorns as your honey locusts. That's how I tell them apart. But black locusts, they have a lot of good qualities. Fence posts. These trees make really nice fence posts. They grow pretty straight, where your Osage orange makes nice fence posts, but they don't grow real straight. So if you like crooked fence posts, which a lot of people do, your Osage orange. But for a nice straight fence post, it's long-lived black locust. Let's take a look. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. Gratitude is a lesson hard to learn from those who look upon the world amiss. The most that they can do is see themselves as better off than others, and they try to be content because another seems to suffer more than they. How pitiful and depreciating are such thoughts! For who has cause for thanks while others have less cause? And who could suffer less because he sees another suffer more? Your gratitude is due Him alone, who made all cause of sorrow disappear throughout the world. It is insane to offer thanks because of suffering, but it is equally insane to fail in gratitude to one who offers you the certain means whereby all pain is healed, and suffering replaced with laughter and with happiness. So we want to be giving God our thanks for providing a method of escape, the atonement, the chain of interlocking forgivenesses, which when complete is the atonement. Thank the Holy Spirit for leading you in that way. Nor could the even partly sane refuse to take the steps which He directs and follow in the way He sets before them to escape a prison that they thought contained no door to the deliverance they now perceive. Your brother is your enemy because you see in him the rival for your peace. A plunderer takes his joy from you and leaves you nothing but a black despair so bitter and relentless that there's no hope remaining. Now is vengeance all there is to wish for. Now can you but try to bring him down to lie in death with you, as useless as yourself, as little left within his grasping fingers as in yours. You do not offer God your gratitude because your brother is more slave than you, nor could you sanely be enraged if he seems freer. Love makes no comparisons. Wow, let's get that one down. Love makes no comparisons. And gratitude can only be sincere if it is joined to love. We offer thanks to God our Father that in us all things will find their freedom. It will never be that some will lose while others still are bound. For who can bargain in the name of love? Therefore give thanks, but in sincerity. and let your gratitude make room for all who will escape with you, the sick, the weak, the needy, and afraid, and those who mourn a seeming loss or feel apparent pain, who suffer cold or hunger, or who walk the way of hatred and the path of death. All these go with you. Let us not compare ourselves with them, for thus we split them off in our awareness from the unity we share with them, as they must share with us. We want to give thanks to every part of God that walks beside us. We don't want to split them off and say, well, I'm better off than them. Whoa, no, because what they're going through is what you're going through. So we want to go through it healthfully for both of us, which is seeing them in love's light. We thank our Father for one thing alone, that we are separate from no living thing and therefore one with Him. We thank our Father for one thing alone, that we are separate from no living thing and therefore one with Him. And we rejoice that no exception can ever be made which would reduce our wholeness, nor impair or change our function to complete the one who is Himself completion. We give thanks for every living thing, for otherwise we offer thanks for nothing, and we fail to recognize the gifts of God to us. Everything is a gift of God. Everything is beautiful as God. Everything is holy as God. So give thanks. Then let our brothers lean their tired heads against our shoulders as they rest a while. We offer thanks for them. For if we can direct them to the peace that we would find, the way is opening at last to us. An ancient door is swinging free again, a long-forgotten word re-echoes in our memory, and God gathers clarity as we are willing once again to hear. Walk then in gratitude, the way of love. Walk then in gratitude, the way of love. For hatred is forgotten when we lay comparisons aside. Hatred is forgotten when we lay comparisons aside. What more remains as obstacles to peace? The fear of God is now undone at last, and we forgive without comparing. Thus we cannot choose to overlook some things and yet remain some other things still locked away as sins. When your forgiveness is complete, you will have total gratitude. Do you have total gratitude? Are you thankful for everything that's happening? Well, aim for that. When your forgiveness is complete, you will have total gratitude. For you will see that everything has earned the right to love by being loving even as yourself. We're all in this together. Today we learn to think of gratitude in place of anger, malice, and revenge. We have been given everything. If we refuse to recognize it, we are not entitled, therefore, to our bitterness and to self-perception, which regards us in a place of merciless pursuit, where we are badgered ceaselessly and pushed about without a thought or care for us or for our future. Gratitude becomes the single thought we substitute for these insane perceptions. Gratitude, the single thought we substitute for those insane perceptions of anger, malice, revenge. Gratitude becomes a single thought we substitute for these insane perceptions. God has cared for us and calls us son. Can there be more than this? Our gratitude will pave the way to Him and shorten our learning time by more than you could ever dream of. Gratitude goes hand in hand with love, and where one is, the other must be found. For gratitude is but an aspect of love, which is the source of all creation. God gives thanks to you, His Son, for being what you are, His own completion, and the source of love along with Him. Your gratitude to Him is one with His to you. For love can walk no road except the way of gratitude, and thus we go, who walk the way to God. Isn't that nice? Thus we go that walk the way to God. What's the way? The way of gratitude. Watch yourself. Watch yourself. Are you giving thanks often? thanking God for all things or lessons God would have you learn? And are you learning them by giving thanks? Okay, let's go back and take a look at, in chapter 3, section 3, Atonement without Sacrifice. As you're turning there, let me talk to you a moment about this Robinia pseudoacacia, the black locust, a wonderful, wonderful tree for the Ozarks. Not only can you make fence posts, it's wonderful for, it has the root nodules for fixing nitrogen in the soil, so it's a good soil builder. It's wonderful for bee pasture. Bees love it in the spring when it's in foliage and it has those nice white blooms, and it makes lots and lots of honey. They say that the seeds and pods are edible, but there's a warning that the bark and leaves are toxic. But even with that, from healthfromnature.net, it talks about how it's been used as medicine for digestion, asthma, and bronchitis. So do your studies and make sure that you know how much and what and all that. How to use it for food. In the spirit of the founder of Western medicine, we like to learn all these foods so that we can be healthy. Founder of Western medicine, Hippocrates, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. So we're learning what things are good to eat and how to eat them and how to prepare them and which parts are edible. And you know, this isn't a course in that, but this is a course in our spiritual advancement. And sometimes we can't reach those high levels of mental mind training and that affect a miracle. And so we do the next best thing, which is healing with what's right beside us. So learn those. Learn how I haven't eaten the bean yet, but I intend to this year when it comes. I'm gonna try cooking them and see how I like them. All right. They say the young pods or the beans themselves. Atonement without sacrifice. There's another point which must be perfectly clear before any residual fear which may still be associated with miracles becomes entirely groundless. The crucifixion did not establish the atonement. Okay? The crucifixion did not establish the atonement. The resurrection did. This is a point which many very sincere Christians have misunderstood. No one who is free of the scarcity error could possibly make this mistake. If the crucifixion is seen from an upside-down point of view, it does appear as if God permitted and even encouraged one of his sons to suffer because he was good. Many ministers preach this every day. Okay, this is such a key concept, and so many of us have come from that thinking where that I want to read this paragraph again, and we're going to read the whole page and try to get our heads wrapped around this idea of that it's not the crucifixion but the atonement, the resurrection that is where the power is. There is another point which must be perfectly clear before any residual fear which may be associated with miracles becomes entirely groundless. The crucifixion did not establish the atonement. The crucifixion did not establish the atonement. The resurrection did. This is a point which many very sincere Christians have misunderstood. No one who is free of the scarcity error could possibly make this mistake. Do we have the scarcity error? What is the scarcity error? Let's understand it, because then we wouldn't make this mistake. He says many sincere, very sincere Christians have made this mistake. If the crucifixion is seen from an upside-down point of view, it does appear as if God permitted and even encouraged one of his sons to suffer because he was good. Many ministers preach this every day. This particularly unfortunate interpretation, which arose out of the combined misprojections of a large number of my would-be followers, has led many people to be bitterly afraid of God. This particularly anti-religious concept enters into many religions, and this is neither by chance nor by coincidence. Oh, he says it's not by chance or coincidence. So what is it by? Yet the real Christian should pause and ask, how could this be? Is it likely that God himself would be capable of the kind of thinking which his own words have clearly stated is unworthy of man? The best defense as always, is not to attack another's position, but rather to protect the truth. It is unwise to accept any concept if you have to turn a whole frame of reference around in order to justify it. This procedure is painful in its minor applications and genuinely tragic on a mass basis. Persecution is a frequent result, undertaken to justify the terrible misperception that God himself persecuted his own Son on behalf of salvation. The very words are meaningless. It has been particularly difficult to overcome this, because although the error itself is no harder to overcome than any other error, men are unwilling to give this one up because of its prominent escape value. In milder forms, a parent says, "This hurts me more than it hurts you," and feels exonerated in beating a child. Can you believe that the father really thinks this way? It is so essential that all such thinking be dispelled that we must be very sure that nothing of this kind remains in your mind. Wow. I was not punished because you were bad. I was not punished because you were bad. The holy benign lesson the atonement teaches is lost if it is tainted with this kind of distortion in any form. Hold on to your seats. Things are changing in your world if you've held those ideas. So it's time to pause and ask, is it possible that God would do what he's told man not to do? Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, is strictly a karmic viewpoint. It is a real misperception of truth by which man assigns his own evil past to God. The evil conscience from the past has nothing to do with God. He did not create it. He does not maintain it. God does not believe in karmic retribution. That's nice to know. His divine mind does not create that way. He does not hold the evil deeds of a man even against himself. Is it likely then that he would hold against anyone the evil that another did? Be very sure that you recognize how utterly impossible this assumption really is, and how entirely it arises from misprojection. This kind of error is responsible for a host of related errors, including the belief that God rejected man and forced him out of the Garden of Eden. It is also responsible for the fact that you may believe from time to time that I am misdirecting you. I have made every effort to use words that are almost impossible to distort, but man is very inventive when it comes to twisting symbols around. Okay, so we'll go to our next, we'll continue reading there at paragraph 17. Let me mark that. Ready for August the 4th on 17. You might go back and read that if you've been one of those Christians that has accepted the idea that the crucifixion was the way. How does he say it? He says that the crucifixion is not a step. It says there's another point which must be perfectly clear before any residual fear which may still be associated with miracles becomes entirely groundless. The crucifixion did not establish the atonement. The resurrection did. This is a point which many very sincere Christians have misunderstood. So if you're one of those very sincere Christians that misunderstood this point, be sure to give this a lot of your thought and understand what sacrifice really means and how it's foreign to God's way of creating and should be foreign to your way of creating. All right, so here I'm showing you once again the black locust tree, and I'm going to let you look up at the top of that tree. I always think about when I'm looking up into the treetops, that saying by Chief John Jolly to Raven, and I change it a tiny bit, and basically I say, there is a way to put your soul in the treetops. There's a way to put your soul in the treetops, where the conflicts of life cannot touch you. Lesson 215 again. I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. The Holy Spirit is my only guide. He walks with me in love, and I give thanks to Him for showing me the way to go. I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me.